Hi, Bhuvan, dear students. Today we are going to learn about the system development models. Okay, so that we are during the system lesson, we are doing the second part of the system lesson, that is system development models. Here we are having two terms, a model and a methodology. So first of all, we are going to learn about what is a model and what are the models that most of the time used in the industry. And then we are going to learn about what is a methodology. Okay, so clearly you need to identify the difference between a model and a methodology. So a model, system development lifecycle model, that is a well-known system development model. So a model is a conceptual framework which includes or describes all the activities in a software development project. Okay, so this model is some kind of a conceptual framework. It is not physical thing, it is a conceptual ideal thing, and it describes all the activities of the software development project from planning to the maintenance. So a project starts from planning and then a project ends with maintenance. Okay, so all these activities, when gathered into a framework, conceptual framework, that is known as a model or a software development lifecycle model. So in today's software industry, there are several models used by different companies. Some of them are waterfall model, spiral model, agile model, prototyping model, and RAD model. Rapid Application Development Model. The short term is RAD. First of all, we will see what is a waterfall model. So a waterfall model is, by the name also you can identify the waterfall is flowing one after the other. Okay, so what in the waterfall model, it is some kind of a sequential process. Sequential means something happens one after the other. Sequential process model used in software development. Okay, so this next stage starts after finishing the previous stage. When you look at the diagram of this waterfall model, you can get some idea. Here it most of the time it starts from feasibility study. Later on at the methodologies, I will describe what is doing at each stage. For now we will only go with the names. Okay, feasibility study, start from feasibility study. Then after finishing feasibility study, uh, not actually not finishing, here you can see some overlap amount is there. Feasibility study is individually conducting up to this point, but after that one, the last section of the feasibility study is conducted while opening the requirement analysis phase. Okay, so before finishing the feasibility study, here according to this diagram, the requirement analysis is starting this phase. Then at the requirement analysis, once some requirements are finished analyzing, then the system design starts. This time this time amount is overlapping with the requirement analysis phase and the system design phase. Then you can see uh, after even before finishing the system design, after finishing only nearly 50% of the system design, here the implementation starts. Okay, so the implementation and design overlaps at this time. Then the testing starts after finishing nearly 50% of the implementation. So the 50% implemented part, this part can be tested here. Okay. So after finishing implementation only the next section of the testing can begin, and the testing phase can finish only after finishing the implementation. Then before finishing the testing, only at the middle of the testing phase, sometimes we can start the deployment, and then we are conducting the testing of the other part, then only the deployment finish after some time. Then at the deployment also, nearly 50% of the deployment is finished. Sometimes we may have to start from the maintenance, with the maintenance. Okay. Then actually maintenance can be conducted after finishing the deployment. So this part, from here to here, the maintenance is conducting for the whole system. Okay, now this is the waterfall model. So there are actually two types of waterfall models. But today most of the companies are using this waterfall model. The difference is here you can see this backward arrows. This section, the left hand side arrows set is a backward arrow. So normally a waterfall is not flowing backward. It is only flowing forward like this. After this comes, after this the system design comes, after system design implementation comes, after that one testing comes likewise. But if some errors happen at the deployment, we have to go back to the deployment and correct the errors and come back to the maintenance. Let's say some errors have occurred at the implementation. At the implementation, something has gone wrong. So at the maintenance, we identify that mistake, and there should be a way to go back to the implementation and correct the error and come to the testing, deployment and maintenance likewise. Okay. If some mistake occurred at the requirement analysis phase, then it is very bad because we have to go back to the beginning. But actually we have to go back to the beginning if so. So we have to correct that requirement, and we have to come to the system design, implementation, testing, deployment and maintenance. Okay. So this going backward is very important today. Otherwise, if something has gone wrong, we cannot identify, even though we identified it, we cannot correct it until the end. Okay, but here you can see, here also we have to correct these errors at the end. No, from these phases we cannot go back. Only at the maintenance, at the time of maintenance, if we identify some error, then only we can go back to the mistaken phase and then come back again. Okay. So the waterfall model is not suitable for complex systems where the requirements are not clear, because some requirements are gone wrong, identification of requirement is wrong, then you can see lot of work have to do again. Okay. So we say the model is suitable for systems where requirements are clear and stable. The requirement should be clear, then only we know everything is running smoothly and everything is correct. And most of the time, this waterfall model we use for well-known and experienced projects. If the company is well experienced with projects like inventory control system, school management system, hospital management system, likewise, then the company can use this waterfall model for their development of the system. But if a particular system is new for the company, new for the project team, then most of the time, yeah, if the requirements are also very complex, then they should not use this model for their development. So waterfall model is applicable for the development of projects where the requirements are very clear. The project with known fixed and clear requirements are suitable for the application of the waterfall model, not suitable for complex projects. Okay, examples: most of the time inventory control systems are developed using this waterfall model. Then the spiral model. So some projects are there, the waterfall model, where the waterfall model or any other model is not suitable, then they can use this spiral model. We will see what is happening in the spiral model, and you should know mainly for one particular project we follow only one model. Later on you will see some new models are there where the industry is using today. Those models are combination of different models, that's okay, but that is also named with a particular name. So always we need to follow one particular model when designing a particular system. So the spiral model is a combination. Here you can see spiral model also a combination of two models, that is iterative development and sequential linear development, like waterfall model. And iterative development. Iterative means something is happening iteratively, repeatedly, again and again, some things are happening, and also sequentially, linearly, uh, mm, some functions are flowing forward. Spiral model is suitable for systems where project risk is medium to high. When the project risk is high, that means when there is a risk in the project and requirements are complex and need an evolution to get clear the requirements, and significant changes are expected during the development, then if these kind of features are there with the current project, then they should go for the spiral model without going to any other model. Okay, mainly the risk management is happening at the spiral model. Here you can see. Now Gantt chart software is designed using this spiral model and evolution of Microsoft Windows operating system. The MS Windows operating system, there are there are different versions of Windows operating system that is doing using spiral model. Okay. So here we know that making a operating system software is high risk, risky project. So they have used this spiral model for that one. Here you can see the main project is separated to four different tasks. Here the project team can decide what should be these four tasks. Okay, here in this diagram they have identified as determine objectives and identify and solve risks, development and testing, and plan the next iteration. So these four can be like this, and then you can see each iteration is doing one particular task. Here the requirements or concepts of requirements, the planning the requirements, so refining the requirements, those things, taking the analyzing the requirements, that should happen for all the four tasks. Okay, the uh, requirement analysis should happen for all the four tasks mentioned here. Then they are doing verification and validation for all four tasks, and then they are coming up with the prototypes. So the prototype 1 should include all the four tasks. Prototype should 2 also should include all the four tasks. Then only they are going for the actual design, actual coding, integration, and testing and implementation of the system. Okay. So this is here you can see that requirement analysis, design, coding, integration, testing, implementation. This is like waterfall model. But the only thing is, here some iterative things are happening. Iteratively, in each task, within each task, it is doing the requirement analysis or requirement planning. Okay. Uh, that should be given by any name, but something similar things are happening in the beginning of the software development, because for any software, requirement should be there in order to design the software. Then should do the verification and validation, then testing, design, coding. These things should happen in any software development. So that is known as a spiral model, that is good for the high risky complex projects. And agile model is a new model. Agile method uh, uses the existing methods and modifies them to suit to the project requirements. So it is using some existing models, and it is modifying the existing model in order to suit for the current project. Okay, the task, that means we cannot exactly say that this is the agile model. They can use any existing model, and they are changing or modifying that existing model in order to suit for the present project. The tasks are divided to time slices to deliver specific features for a release. So mainly when we use the agile model, it is releasing the software part by part. This is an iterative approach, and the software build is delivered after each iteration. After each iteration, some part of the software is delivered to the user. Each build is an increment, and the final product contains all the functionalities that the user requested. Finally, all these released parts are combined together. Each, let's say the first part is released, then the second part is released. When the second part is releasing, it is automatically connected with the first part. When the third part is released, that is a combination of first, second and third part. Okay, so when the final part is releasing, that is the complete software which released by the company. So that's why they says each build is an increment, and the final product contains the all functionalities that the user requested. The agile model is suitable for system where requirements are fixed or changing. Here you can see in each iteration, planning, requirement analysis, design, building and testing. So in the first iteration, first part of the software is finished, and the second iteration, second part of the software is released, and the third iteration, the third part of the software is released. Then the prototyping model. In the prototype model, that is used to combine that is a combination of system development team with the final end user. So prototype is used to display the functionality of the final product, which is under development, but not with the actual functionality. So they are just designing some interfaces like this. Here they are designing some interfaces like this, and they allow user to enter some data and submit the results. And if some pop-up windows are coming, pop-up messages are coming, they are also coding that one. But actually this data is not going into the database, or not going to face any validation. Okay, they are just entering some data, and generating some bulk reports like things in order to feel the user that the user is using the actual system. So here the team is gathering requirements and design the prototype quickly. Uh, Here paperwork, then build the prototype using some particular software, then customer evolution of prototype, show the prototype to the customer and takes some idea from the customer. If some mistakes are happened, then take some feedback from the customer, then refine the requirements, incorporating suggestions, then again design, then again build the prototype, then again work with the user, end user or customer to refine the prototype. Then finally, when the customer is accepting the prototype, then they can go for the actual design, implementation, testing and maintenance. Then rapid application development. In this model, all functional modules are developed in parallel as prototypes, and the final product is made by integrating them, enabling a rapid delivery. So in rapid application development, it is also some having some combination with the prototype. The functional modules are developed in parallel as prototypes, and the final product is made by integrating them, enabling the rapid delivery. So all the functionalities are identified by using prototypes. So it is very fast, no? Without going through each requirement gathering, requirement analysis. Likewise, they are starting from the designing. So after taking some requirements, sometimes that is not clear. So they are just designing some prototype. Then they are working with the user to refine the prototypes, and they are finishing the modeling, and then they are going for the system design development and so on. Okay, so RAD model is the most commonly used development model in the today's industry. So requirement planning is there, then they uh, build, demonstrate and refine, again build, demonstrate and refine. Likewise, after finish refining, they design, construct and test the software, then they design the implementation and then release the software. Okay, so then the next part is software development methodology. Now, up to now, Putha, we have discussed the software development models. So, models we have discussed waterfall models, red model, and agile model. Likewise, different waterfall models. So, the model can be anything. It is the it is selected by the software development company, but the methodology is common for the whole world. Okay, so mainly there are two methodologies. One is object oriented methodology and the other one is structured methodology. In our syllabus we are going to learn in detail about the structured methodology. So today we just go through the object oriented methodology, what is that, and take some rough idea about the object oriented methodology, and then we finish the today's lesson. Then we start the next lesson with the system development uh, structured methodology. Here for the object oriented methodology, all the parts of the system are known as objects. Here all the things, for example, if we are designing a software for the school, the participants in the school to the system are considering as objects: the principal, vice principal, assistant principal, teacher, student, non-academic staff member, likewise a class, syllabus, then it can be timetable or anything, a laboratory, anything. Uh, the living and non-living things, all these can be considered as objects. Then in this methodology, then we look at what are the functionalities of these objects. A teacher, for example, the object teacher have some functionalities, no, and some properties. Properties are teacher is having a teacher ID, employee ID, and qualification, educational qualifications, professional qualifications, and date of birth, uh, um, so on, the permanent address, those things, telephone numbers, and the functionalities are teacher should uh, teach the syllabus. If the teacher is a class teacher is also having some extra set of activities to do. Uh, if the teacher is a sectional head, then that teacher also having some extra set of activities to do. Likewise, then we look at the activities or functions. Then we perform the coding in order to implement these functions. Then automatically, when we combine all these objects, the final system is designed. And that is known as object-oriented methodology to designing the software. Here, this is an object of employee object of a company. These are list of attribute properties, employee ID, name, address. These are some set of operations: employee type, delete employee, add employee, find address, change address. So these are some functionalities of this employee. Regarding this employee, so we have to assign the values for these attributes, and we have to implement these operations. Then the objects can be the employee is a blueprint. So we can make the employee object is a blueprint. We can make many objects from this employee uh, class. Actually, this is a class. Okay. So from this class, we can make many objects. So employee, Mr. Silva is an employee. Mr. Chamali, Mrs. Chamali is an employee. Miss Ganga is an employee. No? Likewise, we can make many objects from this employee class. Okay. So there are many object-oriented concepts when developing softwares using object-oriented methodology, polymorphism, classes and objects. Now here you saw, now this is the employee class, these are the objects, no? And encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance. But we do not need to know these things. It is not included in our syllabus. Okay. So this is some structure of the object. So all the methods are surrounded the data of a particular object. Okay. So all the methods are accessing the same set of data of a particular object. Normally we use object-oriented methodology to design real-time systems, simulations and modeling tools, object-oriented databases, artificial intelligence and expert systems, neural networks and parallel programming, decision support and office automation systems, CAD/CAM systems. That means the architectures are using these softwares. So in order to develop these kind of softwares, we use object-oriented approach. So that's all for today. You can go through this video again and again. If you have any question, you can ask uh, through our group, or you can call me, and I'm publishing an assignment to you. Then answer that assignment and send to the school ICT Society email account. Thank you.